Hey everybody, it is Darrell with the Back 40 broadcast, and welcoming you here again today, where every week we are here to support you in creating your second half of life as your best half. By the way, you'll see that in the other broadcasts we had our logo up in the back, and it's packed because we're actually moving into our greater second half, or an aspect of our second half, is we're moving. We bought a deluxe condo in the sky, as the Jeffersons song used to say back in the 70s. But anyhow, we'll be doing our broadcast in a few weeks from somewhere else when escrow closes. But anyhow, we want to welcome you here today, and our message and our community every week. We meet you here basically based on two premises. First, like Frank Sinatra sings, the best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? And also, we're absolutely convinced that you have yet to do what you came here to do. We have yet to do, Alexander and I have yet to do what we came here to do. Now, first off today, before we get into our nuggets and nudges to move you forward in creating your second half as your best half, is I want to alert you, so I don't forget, that we have a couple free ebooks available today. They're totally free. One of them is a $2.99 value. The other one is a $9.99 value. And we're making those free today, ideally so that you will go download them. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But let me move past that real quick. Ideally, so that you will go get them. And I don't know if you can take a screenshot right now. I know it's a lot of gobbledygook, but on a broadcast, I can't give you something you can click, at least not at my current technological acumen. But if you take a screenshot, there's two ebooks that went up today. Birth of the Back 40, which is really the whole story of how this movement, this philosophy came about, that is now growing with our community. And then also Crisis or Opportunity, Midlife in and Out of the Office. I was asked by the oldest career journal a few years ago to put together a special edition of their journal dealing with midlife crisis, as it both affects people in their career as well as how it affects them in their life. And it was just such a pleasure to put that together, because I worked with 6 other authors in their particularly unique stories of rising from the ashes. I'm just going to encourage you, go get both of those today. Please post a review on Amazon, on Kindle, so that others can get inspired too by what's possible for all of us. Also, if you see that link at the very bottom, we did an awesome interview this morning with the maven of passion. Her name is Karen Glasser, and she has a huge channel and organization and online network called Spark It Network. And so if you go to sparkitnetwork.com, business-promotion back-40, you'll be able to see what we did this morning. And hey, even my mom texted me after she saw it and said, "Oh, I'm so inspired. Y'all should get on Ellen DeGeneres." So I'll tell you what, listen to my mom and go watch that interview and see if you think we should get on Ellen DeGeneres with that message. So anyhow, coming back to what we're here to give you a nugget or nudge on today. I love to play with words. I think words are one of the best canvases that we have to use in life. And so I often will put 2 words together to create a new idea, or to pull from 2 ideas. And if you get my weekly newsletter, which you can get by going to theback40.com and sign up at the bottom, or careerguide.com and sign up for the weekly Jolt Note. It's all about transformation of our lives, our careers, our relationships, everything that has to do with our greatest life and our greatest life yet to be. Anyhow, the subject today was what I called Igbliss. How many of you have ever heard that ignorance is bliss. And yet, we laugh at that statement because we say, but who wants to be ignorant? Because I want to be aware. I want to know. I go to school and get my advanced degrees, and I take workshops, and I listen to podcasts, and I read books so that I can know. And if I know, then I'm going to have wisdom. And if I have experience and wisdom, then I'm going to know the best decisions to make and the right turns to take. And I want to offer that in our back 40, that wisdom can actually become our Achilles heel. Because as we, now I'm not knocking intelligence, I'm not knocking our advanced degrees, I'm not knocking all the experience we gained. And I do want to offer that a lot of it can add up to us just knowing the way it is, or the way we are, or been there, done that. And I, in my book, The Back 40, which is yet to be published, we're getting a lot more people in our community, and we're going to be publishing that probably in the next year. But one of the things I talk about is this great shrinking of all things possible world. Because as we, have lived our life and we've been burnt here, or we've been, I won't use the word, screwed around here, or this has happened to us, or that has happened to us, we kind of make our decisions and we know about the way the world is. Or if we've tried certain things like a business or new hobbies, and we didn't take off right away, then we make decisions about what's really possible for us or what we can do. And so today, and I'll bring up the earlier slides that I whisked by a moment ago, but talking about Igbliss and Lao Tzu, who was the author of the Tao Te Ching and created this whole philosophy, Eastern philosophy called Taoism, basically says to know that you do not know is the best. And it's funny, the Eastern religions, and I'm sure it's all around here as well, but I think the Eastern philosophies have a real bead on this because Buddhism has always been based on beginner's mind, which means, can you approach things, even things that you supposedly already know, can you approach them from a perspective of beginner's mind? Like, what if you don't know? What if at 40, 50, 60, you don't know what relationships are really like? What if you don't know what you really have within you to still accomplish? What if the talents, what if that first half has really all been R&D, research and development? And if you were able to really see and mine those laboratory experiments that you did in that first half, what if there was a real direction pointing to what you're really here to do now? And it is all possible. Just what if? So in thinking about this today, or pondering this as I put together the my newsletter and a blog on our back40.com page, I did a little research, and though it's not the be-all, end-all of statements about what our society says is possible in later life versus early life, I did go do a little bit of research on startups. And where does age fall in the area of startups? Because we all know that the founder of Facebook and the founders of so many new technologies really started very young. And I'll say more about that in a minute as to why I believe that that might be the case. But let's just look at some of the research I found today. And again, go get those. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I went to a web page instead of, let me click. There we go. first off, Harvard Business Review did they published a study that was put together by First Round Capital, a venture capital firm. And they found that younger founding teams outperformed older ones. Now, you might be listening to this thinking, well, Darrell, you're saying what your whole movement is flying in the face of. Yes, I am, because I'm saying what exists now. And what we're attempting to do here in the Back 40 movement and message and philosophy is to shape up our older mindsets so that this isn't necessarily the case. One of the things they found was that the average age of an entrepreneur is about 40. You know, what about Facebook, Apple, Google, Microsoft? The average founding age for those companies was about 23. Okay, so just mark that. Mark that in your mind, because I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Founding teams with an average age of under 25 perform nearly 30% above the average investment, right? And the average age of all first round, this was the company doing the research, the venture capital company, the average age of all first round backed founders was 34.5, and the average age for the top 10 investments that first round venture was invested into was 31.9. Okay, so you say, okay, Darrell, you are proving what society says is that your best ingenuity and creativity and your best careers and your best, all of that is in the first half. It's not in the second half, and the facts prove it. Well, only because us at 40, 50, 60, 70 are believing it. And only because we are operating out of mindsets that keep that being the case. And so one of the nuggets that I want to offer today is that if at 40, 50, 60, 70, we could play in life and start approaching life the same way the 23-year-olds do, the 21-year-olds. You know, the wisdom that we've gained can be a great contribution, and the experience we've gained can be a great contribution if we're out mentoring and supporting earlier generations, giving them, input, advice. Everybody likes advice. And I think some of the advice, though they're not giving it to us, that we can discern from the earlier generations is to let go of all of the ideas of this incredible, all things possible, shrinking world that we can entertain in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. In the Back 40 Infused program, we rattle off a lot of names of people that household names, and yet they didn't do the thing they got known for till they were in their 50s, 60s, 70s. And the whole idea of our programs and of our message here is that we want to shift the cultural conversation. We want to shift the cultural conversation that says all of that's in the first half. And really, and so we gotta shift our mindsets. Start playing. Start not knowing who we are. Start not knowing what's possible for us. Starting to let go of the way we believe things are or the way we are. And it really requires community. At 23, 21, 23, you can kind of be a maverick and solo and just sit on your computer at Harvard and whip up something that becomes Facebook eventually. And as we do get older and we've been through so much and we have all this past stuff that's kind of telling us what's possible for us, first thing is we want to get rid of thinking we're a victim to that. And that's one of the things we do in our Back 40 programs is let go of anything that we think we were a victim to and really see the gold in all of it and the direction that it's pointing us towards what we're really here to do. But then it's like, because society says all of this and what's possible and not possible at 40, 50, or 60, we want to come together. We want to have a community where we're all really seeing the BS of all that story and really getting behind each other to open up the mind, beginner's mind, to not know who we are, to not know what's really possible for us. So here's a couple thoughts I want to, or a little game I want to share with you to take on this week. First off, we want to explore what would be possible if you didn't know or can't do. If you did not know, if ignorance was bliss for you in terms of what you were capable of. First off, like I said, you got to get a buddy. We won't tend to do this as much on our own in our back 40 because we're so convinced and we know and nobody's going to tell us any different. Guess what? When I was little, my dad used to use an expression, "Are you out of your mind?" Guess what? We want to get out of our mind. We want to get a buddy or buddies to support us in our out of our mindness. So get a buddy and then make a list. Make a list. Just play. Let yourself just go crazy and write down 10 things that could be possible if you didn't know what you could or couldn't do. Just let yourself start creating. Don't edit. Don't edit the list. Just write some things down and list it and discuss it with each other without buying into each other's story. Have y'all noticed that when other people share something that they're really turned on about or they're passionate about, it's like you want to really get behind it. And it's like, yeah, you can do that. But then when we're in the dangerous neighborhood of our own mind, we're not so much pro that it's possible. So that's why we want to share with each other and discuss it with each other without buying into the stories and excuses. And then just take action. See, all of our wisdom and experience can generally leave us paralyzed because we think through all the options and we have all the reasons, and unreasonableness does not exist. Too much smarts. So we really want to start to let go of all of our good reasons that come from wisdom and experience and take action in at least one area that you wouldn't have otherwise. Follow up with your buddy, share what you see out of that, and post what you see on our Facebook community. Play with us here. Come to theback40.com, download our top 10 tips for a radical second half of life. Look at the programs they're doing. Go read our blogs. I just got to tell you, we're having fun expanding beyond what we think we know or what we think is possible for us. And we really invite y'all to join us in playing in this way. And I want to just go back. Well, first off, I want to show you another quote that I think is just really poignant based on what we're talking about here. Pablo Picasso says, "It takes a very long time to become young." So I'm going to challenge myself and everyone that's within earshot and internet shot of this message today to really look at, what about this whole Merlin thing? What if, like Merlin, we were actually getting younger? What if you could blow yourself away and others away with what's really possible for you right now? I want to just go back real quick, though, and show y'all where you can get your 2 ebooks today on Kindle: Birth of the Back 40, Crisis or Opportunity, Midlife, In and Out of the Office. And also go see our interview that we did on Karen's Spark It Network show. And we just really look forward to continuing to meet you here every week and play with you in designing a rack and half. We will see you next week.
who I am. Says